5 easy dinners that you can whip together in no time for the weeknights. I have a few slow cooker recipes that I am doing, as well as other casseroles and things like that as well. So I hope that you enjoy it, and let's get to cooking.
All right, so the first thing that I have made this week was cracked chicken sandwiches. This was such a good, fun recipe to make. Honestly, I have never made the cracked chicken recipe before, and I don't know why. It came together so quick, it was so easy, and there's so many different things you can do with this recipe. So anyway, to the bottom of my slow cooker, I added about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast, along with 8 ounces of cubed cream cheese, and I use a packet of ranch dressing. However, I would absolutely suggest making that a half a pack because the ranch flavor was pretty intense and a little salty. So definitely use a half pack. And I added 1/4 cup of chicken stock. Cooked this on low for about 4 hours. After those 4 hours were up, I took my meat masher, which is a genius hack, by the way. I saw it on Julia Pacheco's channel, and it absolutely is the best hack I've ever seen in the kitchen. I just mashed everything together. I added 1/2 cup of cheese, maybe a little more than 1/2 cup, and I mixed that together since the pot was already so hot that it was cooking all for 4 hours. It melted super quick, and then I added about 1/2 cup of chopped bacon and mixed that all together, and it was time to serve it up. So all I did was toast up 2 hamburger rolls, and I just spooned out the mixture on top of the sandwich. Now, here is where it gets fun because this is where you can make the recipe your own. You could put it over pasta, you could put it over rice, you could do whatever you want. And then I just added a couple more pieces of bacon, some green onions, and this was a delicious dinner. I served it with a nice little side salad with ranch dressing, and it was just super good. My whole family enjoyed it. So for our next recipe this week, we had cheeseburger casserole, and it was so good. It was interesting. I've never made anything like this before, and it looks a little sloppy, but it's actually delicious. So I took 4 hamburger buns, diced them up, and sliced up 1 large yellow onion. And now to a large frying pan, I am going to add in about 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and we're going to saute these onions anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Season them up with some salt and pepper, and also I did add a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and it just brings out this amazing flavor. And when you caramelize onions, they're just delicious. So the longer that you will saute these, the better they're going to taste. So this was after about 15 minutes, and then I just put that to the side. So to the same frying pan, we are going to add in our ground beef. I do not even bother cleaning out the frying pan because all of that flavor from the onions and the Worcestershire sauce is in there. You're just going to brown that. And still, one of my favorite tricks in the whole world is putting paper towel in to absorb all of the extra grease that is in here. I do like keeping a little bit of the fat when I make anything that is resembling a hamburger because it does help with flavor, but to each your own. And in that, I added 2 tablespoons of ketchup as well as 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. You can use any kind of mustard here. So after that is all heated through, we are going to finally assemble our casserole. So to the bottom of a 9x13 baking dish, I sprayed it with a little canola oil, and I'm going to layer it with our ground beef mixture and top it with our caramelized onions and some shredded cheddar cheese. And then of course going to top it with the diced up hamburger buns, and I'm also going to top it with some pickles as well because why not? It just made it so good. And of course, if you have a little extra cheese, I recommend putting a lot more on top because this is an amazing cheeseburger casserole. You can even add bacon at this point if you wanted. And we're just gonna cover it up, bake it at 350 for about 15 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it is all done. Just serve it up. Like I said, it looks a little messy and sloppy, but hey, it tastes amazing. And I served it with a little side salad and it came out perfect. My family absolutely loved it. So the next recipe we made this week is lentil bolognese. It is a vegetarian dish and it takes a little extra work, but it is so worth it. So I started with a pound of mushrooms, 2 celery stalks, 2 carrots, 1 large onion, and about 4 minced cloves of garlic. And I am just going to saute that up in my pot until everything is nice and tender. So about 5 minutes. Of course, add a little salt and pepper. The salt will help cook the veggies down. And of course, I waited to put the mushrooms in just because they tend to cook and a little faster, as well as the garlic. We did not want to burn that, so I put it in at this point, and I am just going to cook this for about another minute or so. So in any hearty bolognese recipe, we want to make sure that we have a nice tomato base. So I put in about a 1/4 cup of tomato paste and I mixed that all together and cooked it down. And then I also added a 1/2 cup of red wine. This is totally optional, but it really does deepen the flavors. After the wine is reduced, I added a teaspoon each of Italian seasoning, thyme, garlic powder, and also baking soda. Baking soda actually helps cut the acidity of all of the tomatoes. And now for the star of the show, I am adding in 16 ounces of lentils, rinsed of course, 28 ounces of diced tomatoes, and 2 cups of vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock, but I did want to keep this vegetarian. At this point, we are just going to add in a little more salt and pepper. Be sure you are tasting your food as you go so it is seasoned to your liking. And then I'm going to add in 3 bay leaves. I'm going to cover and simmer for 40 minutes. And we're just going to serve this over some regular pasta. Just cook it up as according to the box. After those 40 minutes are up, we're going to make sure that we dig out all of those bay leaves and remove them because we don't want to be eating them. And we're just going to serve it over our pasta. This is how the dish came out and it is so good. You really don't even miss the meat in a dish like this. So for our next recipe, we made a creamy chicken and pasta. This is actually a TikTok video and it is really good and really easy. I made it in the slow cooker. So to the bottom of my slow cooker, I'm adding 1.5 pounds of chicken breast along with 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 can of cream of chicken soup, 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm also using a packet of Italian seasoning. You can use ranch if you want it as well. And then I have 2 cups of heavy cream and 2 cups of chicken stock and about a tablespoon each of garlic powder, black pepper, and Italian seasoning. And this is totally optional, but I put in a little hot sauce just to give it a little extra kick. So about 5 hours later, we have some delicious chicken in here that we need to mash up. So I am just using this meat masher to shred up all of the chicken. If you do not have one, feel free to use forks, whatever you've got. And this is the point where we are going to add in our pasta and actually cook our pasta in the slow cooker. I added in a cup of mozzarella cheese as well as 1 box of the rigatoni pasta, and then I added in another 1.5 cups of chicken stock and I covered this up and we cooked it again for another 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, you are just going to mix this all together and we are just gonna serve it up. This is so easy, you guys, so easy to make, and this is how it came out. I topped it with some green onions and fresh tomatoes. It was my husband's favorite meal this week. For our final recipe this week, I am making Spanish rice stuffed tacos. This is probably the easiest recipe I made all week, and I hope that you guys give it a try because it's so simple and so good. So I diced up 1 green pepper and 1 yellow onion. To the bottom of my frying pan, I am going to add in about a tablespoon of oil, and we're going to saute the pepper and onion with a little bit of salt and pepper. After sauteing for about 5 minutes, we are going to add in our ground beef, and we're just going to brown it until everything is cooked through, and make sure you drain off the fat. And here is the easy part. We are just going to add in a packet of Spanish rice. I like to blast the rice, which is just sauteing it over high heat for a minute before I add in the liquid. I did add in 2 cups of chicken stock, but you can use water as well. And then I just covered it, simmered it for 7 minutes like the package says, and I served it up in these amazing taco pockets that just like, it has to be a brand new product, and it's just the best invention ever. Served it with some salsa on the side, topped with lettuce and tomato and some cilantro, and the whole family absolutely loved it. Okay, you guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope that you got some kind of inspiration for one of your meals for this week, and I am going to be sharing a lot more videos like this. So if this is the kind of videos you like to watch, then please consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on the notifications so you know every time I upload new content. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.